What?
No, I said don't forget.
I didn't forget. But anyways,
Oh, are we live?
this is live.
Oh, okay.
We're live.
Nailed
Hi,
it.
friends.
Hi, welcome to Funny Enough Theorios, Internet's most incredible conspiracy theory podcast. We're all right.
Yeah, you nailed that too. I almost forgot what episode it was, but it's season 2, episode 8.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you, Drake.
You might
I
also
believe
see
we've
us on
gotten this far.
Sundays, but not last Sunday because 2 people canceled.
Yeah, I wonder who that could have been.
I waited until
bummer.
the first canceled.
I could have been that first. I don't know.
Could have been, should have been.
It's fine, family stuff. Who
Yeah.
cares?
But that's still kind of getting formatted too, so not too.
Yeah.
Anyways,
Look for us on Sundays.
This week we just picked a bunch of operations from 3-letter agencies for the most part.
most of them were like from. They're like what are they called? You put in the request for information.
Yeah, FOIA docs.
Yeah. So that was pretty cool
So-
to find out.
There's a bunch of little conspiracies this week, not one big one that we all researched a lot. Well, Drake's got a big one.
Freedom of Information Act.
I got the best one. I'm just kidding. But it kind of is.
I did say Drake has a big one. That is automatic penis joke, right?
Thank you.
My bad. Anyway, let's start off with current events.
You're the first person to ever tell me that.
I don't like this show anymore.
Good gosh. 2 minutes
I'm
into
just-
the show. Record
Did y'all
time.
see
just
anything interesting this week? There's a lot of stuff that happened. I don't know if y'all want to go over all of it or save it for Sunday. But I
I think we
also
should
don't
get
know that
into
y'all
some
show
of
up, so okay.
We can talk about it a little bit, but yeah, we should save some for Sunday.
Nah, dog. All right, go to the thing and pull up the first article.
Oh, the
Antifa attacked a police training facility, and by Antifa attacked, I mean like 75 people showed up and there was stuff on fire. I don't really know what happened, but there's video of there's like infrared video of 75 people walking to the front, and I think they started by throwing firecrackers. I don't know what happened after that.
Which one?
But
are you talking
like the first link under my notes should be.
about? Oh yeah.
There you go.
There you go.
All my news comes from Twitter, so they're all tweets.
You know, I get a lot of Twitter articles sent to me, but I'm not really on Twitter that much.
So this is here in a second you'll see. Are you showing it?
Trying to. Drake would get out of the way.
I'm sorry.
There we go.
They throw like firecrackers in this video. I don't know what else. I didn't skip forward. I stopped watching it, but I thought it was crazy because I saw the infrared, and it's like a lot of people. And one of them worked for the SPLC,
Yeah.
the Southern Poverty Law Center.
I wonder what that was.
Damn, this video looks like nothing actually happened though, except for a couple fireworks. But I know a protester.
Oh shit!
died.
Is this the one that was in? Did you say Georgia? I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's
Atlanta.
Yeah.
I meant to text the friends we have over there about it, but God.
Oh yeah, I'm flying there tomorrow. That should be fun.
Oof.
And then under that, there's the SPLC lawyer being involved, and 23 people arrested under that. I'm pretty sure one of the protesters died. And let me Google what the SPLC does. I know it's the Southern Poverty Law Center, but I've never seen this Wikipedia, so I might as well look it up. They're a nonprofit legal advocacy organization specializing in civil rights and public interest litigation.
What does that have to do with his tweet?
One of the people who attacked worked for the SPLC.
Oh, geez.
That guy.
That's pretty transparent.
I think they're specifically not supposed to do stuff like this.
Dude, I don't know why all these boxes got messed up now. Anyways, that's pretty crazy that they're so blatantly linked like that, though.
Yeah, I think they released a thing and were like, he didn't do anything wrong. Yeah. Hang on. Thomas is a staff attorney and added that his relative is innocent of allegations against him. But they all got charged with domestic terrorism, so it was like kind of a big deal.
Kind of. I mean, you can't open assault on the police department, right?
Yeah, or a training center.
No.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
Seems like a crazy thing to do.
Yeah, which points to the conspiracy for me. I don't know why I always go there with that, but for sure. That's what I'm trying to say. It's just so obvious. Never mind. I'm not going to go.
Is Antifa classified as a domestic terrorist group?
I think it depends on who's asking, who's answering. I don't know. Does that make sense? No.
Is that like a thing you shouldn't say to some people? Because every time I see Antifa, they're blowing shit up or setting shit on fire.
Maybe that's what they want you to see. I don't know. That's what I always heard it under context as was some kind of like, I don't want to say right wing, but somewhere within that. Not that side either way, but that extreme level. Does that make sense?
Yeah. There was a resolution in 2020. I don't know if it passed.
To do what?
What resolution?
It has only been introduced to call for the designation of Antifa as a domestic terrorist group. So it looks like it's just sitting there. I don't know.
Yeah, it should never gets done in a timely manner. It always takes years.
Yeah. Well, it's kind of scary. I'm super not for the government people calling people domestic terrorist groups because I think they did that to ICP.
Yeah.
So like Mas Hermanos, but obviously that was like
Los Hermanos?
that was
yes.
what they did in this instance is obviously
Good
terrorism.
chicken.
So they're opposite of what I was putting them in context with.
What do you mean?
Anti-fascist instead of fascist.
Yeah. No, I think they're anti. Yeah. See the second one.
See,
Anti-capitalist and anti-state. How do you be anti-state and anti-capitalist? What does that mean? Everyone just gives everyone shit? Are these violent hippies? Is that what's going on?
I hate you, hippies.
I don't know, man.
That's
After
crazy, though,
Trump
right?
was elected, so that's why they became more popular at the time Trump was rising because they were rising to meet him.
Oh, they thought Trump was they were fighting all the Proud Boys who were like,
Yeah, they were the
Equally as
opposite side
questionable.
of that. So that's just, I guess that's what I'm saying, proportionate response on the left to what was happening.
here's the thing, though. The Proud Boys did start as a joke.
See, I could see something like that starting as a joke, but then people kind of like
I'm
start
not
taking
saying
it
it ended
seriously.
that way. Yeah. No, I'm not saying it ended that way, but I don't think Antifa started as a joke. I think it started as people thinking the world was going to end if Trump got elected.
Well,
I mean, they always think. I feel like half the world, that whatever side loses, thinks that.
Yeah.
Like, oh my God, when blah 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 takes office, the world will end. And I'm moving to Canada. I'm moving to Mexico. It's like, no, you fucking aren't. Calm down.
Oh, didn't in 2016 like the Canadian immigration website went down on election night because it was like a DDoS attack? They just couldn't handle the traffic.
I don't know, but I know they like came out and said like, hey, it takes about 10 years to get your citizenship. So
Yeah. If you have a ticket, we won't let you over the border. You're not coming here. And then, speaking of Trump getting elected, Tucker Carlson did. So when the Republicans won, those people held out to make McCarthy
yeah.
release the January 6th footage, like 40,000 hours of it or something.
Tucker Carlson did this?
He gave it to Tucker Carlson, and they did last night. He did a whole segment, and he was contrasting what they were showing to the January 6th committee, and he picked people specifically to like follow or watch or whatever because the stories told about them were not what the video was, but he did show what January 6th showed. I don't know, because like half of it is violent and wrong and people broke in, but then you look at the videos of people walking around on the inside like tourists. Like one of the segments he showed was that the dude with the horns, the QAnon shaman.
Yeah.
He's in jail for like 3.5 years. And it showed him on camera being escorted by cops who were trying to open doors for him.
Literally.
And then it showed him like praying, going, thank you for the cops letting us in here and stuff. And it's like, okay, it's not trespassing if no one asks you to leave.
I think there was a lot that happened because I did see footage of police officers like removing barricades, like ushering people in, kind of thing.
So there was a
And then
legal
he saw
rally.
some like fighting people off to not get farther in to the Capitol.
Yeah.
So it's like it looks like it's staged on both sides, where it's like we did our part, but also they're like letting them in as fast as possible. But you're not gonna, you're not gonna evade cameras, you know?
They're not parsing it how it seems like it happened. Like it seems like there's a group before Trump left already there. They never went to see Trump. They were just on one side of it. They busted shit and broke in. But the other side, there was a legal permitted rally, like through the government. They were supposed to walk there after the Trump speech, which they did. And then after this side went nuts and broke in, this side was let in. And a bunch of these people got arrested, which seems crazy. I mean, we have video of cops opening doors for this guy wearing the buffalo hat, and it seems like he got arrested because he was wearing a buffalo hat, and he was easily identifiable.
I think
He was easily identifiable, definitely.
I think there's no way to prove this, but I think they both sides knew that it was going to happen. I'm not saying the left like did anything differently than the right, but I think they both knew it was going to happen. But like, you know what? Sounds like a great photo op. Let's do it. And then they just like staged this huge event. See, that's why I'm saying there's no way of proving this. But not that they staged it, but they just, both sides were going to like, hey, we're going to do this, and be like, bet you won't, kind of bullshit. And then it happens, and then the media gets to use that as like, oh, it's open rebellion on the government, when they were both like...
Yeah, I mean, like, the speaker, the lady who talks for the president, Jean-Pierre.
Oh, no.
No, I can't ever remember what her title is. White House correspondent or something. I don't know.
Yep.
Yeah.
Look it up now.
It doesn't matter.
Look it up.
She repeated today that that January 6th is the worst thing to happen in democracy since the Civil War.
That is so fucked up.
Can you say that again?
She said it again today, and it's like,
No, she did not.
dog, listen.
Oh my god, dude.
Let's
like,
treat the bad act. It's so hard not to come across as an apologist. I'm not apologizing for everyone. Definitely bad people did bad things. But there's like grandmothers walking around in there who went to jail.
It's press secretary.
Press
secretary.
There you go.
And it is Jean Pierre. Is that what you said?
Jean Pierre.
Jean Pierre.
So what was 9/11?
Karen. What?
Yeah,
was
right.
9/11 like not the worst thing to happen?
No, it's like they're comparing it to like the worst thing that's ever happened, and it wasn't good.
Hey,
but
I can name 5 other things right now that are worse than that fucking day. How many people died on January 6th? I think 0.
No, like 2 or 3, but they were all protesters. That's another part of the Tucker Carlson thing, where the mainstream media is still in the New York Times. You can pull it up. I have the article of the New York Times saying it. They said that one of the cops got beat to death with a fire extinguisher. There's video of him walking around with a helmet on and going home. He died of a stroke the next day. It's very hard not to say.
Oh.
Or it's like hard to... That's not a good point. So like maybe an officer still died because why would he have a stroke? Oh, maybe it's because he was in a huge conflict the day before. Who really knows? So let's not take that as a win because a cop did die. But he didn't die there. He wasn't beat to death like they said happened.
What am I looking for in this?
New York Times article.
It's New York Post. My bad. It was New York Times, wasn't it?
New York Times. It says right there, New York Times.
So it's not Carson gets 6 footage.
No, I basically said all that stuff. The second one was Officer Sicknick.
See, I think that's what I was trying to get at. Both sides knew.
This article is still up, and the New York Times said he wanted to be a cop and he was murdered or whatever. Go back to the title.
He dreamed of being a police officer, then was killed by pro-Trump mob.
That didn't fucking happen.
Oh, that didn't happen?
No, that's not what happened.
What happened?
Isn't that crazy?
This is Tucker Carlson saying this?
Yeah. And so, like, if y'all want to have a conversation about Tucker Carlson, for some reason, he seems to be able to say whatever the hell he wants.
Yeah.
He seems to be like, you don't know why?
Yeah, and I don't know if he really is or if he's being used as like a spigot.
Have you seen
slowly pressure?
I think a little of both. I think they give him the free roam to say what he wants, but he still has certain boundaries. Like they couldn't control Joe Rogan, so they kicked him off YouTube. But right before they were kicking him off YouTube and he was going to Spotify, YouTube put back all of his episodes that they took off in order to make money off of it before he left for Spotify. So it's like not different from this.
Right. And the argument is that he's kind of similar to Joe Rogan in the sense that he's the only reason Fox News Network is any type of successful. He has the highest ratings of nighttime news out of anybody.
Yeah.
Which is crazy.
So it's pretty crazy.
So he can't be the arbiter of truth by his position in my mind. There's no way he gets to be the top Fox News anchor and be telling me the truth.
Yeah.
But then he does a show like that and I go, well, that's weird. Like, is he being the biggest apologist? Is he telling the side of the story that isn't being told like a good journalist does? Because like Fox News isn't even necessary. There's Fox News articles that say January 6th is the worst thing that's ever happened. That is not the Fox News. He's not toting the line of the network he's on, which is also weird.
I think he just knows, like,
he's got his finger on the pulse.
Yeah, he's got his finger on the pulse. He's got it right now, and he's got views, and he knows, like, talking about certain topics and everything. I mean, I don't even really watch Fox, but I have watched a lot of his parts on it just because he does say some good things sometimes, and I'm like, oh, okay, like, yeah, I get that. That's cool.
It's just hard. It's hard to be a skeptic watching someone who works for the mainstream be skeptical. Yeah. I'm going, you double crossing me?
Yeah, it's like, is this reverse psychology? Am I supposed to like, oh, I agree with you, but I shouldn't agree with you because...
Well, yeah, and like, I'm sure his political views, not his journalistic endeavors necessarily, but I'm sure I don't align with him politically. But he does crazy stories like this that are like, the government is evil. And I'm like, you know what? The government is evil. Well, why are you saying that?
Why are you saying that?
Yeah. Shit. I think it's all by design. I think that's what they're setting them up to do. Like plausible it's like you wouldn't want to score 100% on a test, right? So they like throw him a curveball every once in a while.
Yeah. Well, and did y'all ever watch Crossfire, the show he used to be on? I think it was on CNN.
I thought he got kicked off that or something.
He was wearing a bow tie. I watched it a couple times because
the wear bow tie.
Oh, he might. I don't know. Actually, no, he's wearing a tie in that video. He used to wear a bow tie, and the whole show was like him being a super righty or whatever, conservative, and someone else being a lefty, and they either bring someone on or have a topic. And they only argue. And I like watching arguments. That's why I'm a fan of Destiny, even though I don't really fall under what he thinks either. I like the internet debatey. I like watching politics. It doesn't make any sense. I like watching people argue. And so that's why I watched it a couple times, because that's what he used to do, but it was also generic and fake. And then he's a news anchor and he's like, Pfizer's a liar. And you're like, what the fuck? Isn't that your advertiser?
Yeah. Let's talk about that.
That's pretty crazy.
No, we can move on from Tucker.
Yeah, we need to move on.
I got 2 more. Can I do them? I'll cut my part short.
I'll cut my part short because it's literally like, yeah.
All right, bring up the Russell Brand thing, because that thing
I want to talk about it.
Did y'all see the Russell Brand video on Bill Maher?
Oh, I watched him on Joe Rogan, and that was fucking amazing.
He went on Bill Maher like the night before that. That just came out today, right?
No, it's been out for a minute. There's been an extra episode since Russell Brand with Joe Rogan.
Okay. I think Saturday or Sunday is when Bill Maher's thing shows on HBO. I might be wrong. I don't fucking know. He was on Bill Maher, and he was talking to
Tucker
someone
Carlson?
who... No. Russell Brand. We're moving on. He was talking to someone from MSNBC, and the guy from MSNBC said, pull up the video. We got to watch a video. We might get copywritten again like we did for the SNL video. That's why the YouTube video didn't hit.
I think I saw this one.
Today.
Yeah.
But
right there.
So this guy from MSNBC was like, give me one instance when we knowingly lied. And he went, ah! I mean, he was on a tirade the whole time.
You guys didn't even hear this? No.
He has documents and proof of a bunch of stuff that we've been talking about too.
Russell Brand does?
Are you watching this and watch together?
No, is it in watch together?
Can you put it in the watch together?
It's a Twitter video.
Have Fox News is ludicrous.
Can I copy link address? Can I do it that way?
I don't know. Damn. Look at me fucking up, posting now.
Can you just Google it though? Like,
soul, to be honest.
Russell Brand.
Explore your family story at Ancestry.com.
Did it work?
I don't know. I don't think so. Nope. I don't know what's happening there. Guess not.
I found it. Here.
That was fast. Did you put it in Discord or something?
It's in Watch Together right now.
Yeah.
That's smart of you.
Is it playing?
Yeah.
I can't hear it. What the fuck?
It's not playing on my end.
And I think to
Really?
sit
It is
within
now.
the castle of MSNBC throwing rocks have Fox News is ludicrous.
Did it pause?
Make MSNBC
No, it's playing.
better. Make
You're not controlling. You
MSNBC
gotta
great
click within
again.
the page.
The moment.
Gotcha, so I still don't know where you are.
I'm at 17 seconds. I paused it.
Okay. Let me get there. I'm sorry. Yeah, I'm at 40.
You follow along, Drake?
What happened?
Go to 17 seconds.
Okay.
And then
why is it all on different? Why are we all on different times?
It's because it's a Twitter video. We're fucking up. Let's not acknowledge it. And all press play in 1, 2, 3. Oh shit! Hang on.
Russell.
Oh my fucking god!
I'm gonna say play after 3.
Doesn't matter.
1, 2, 3. Play.
The moment that you give me a specific example, an actual example.
Okay, I'll give you one. Just wait. Just we need a specific
How
example.
about a specific? Let me tell you what the specific I'd like to hear of. I'd like to hear a specific example, a provable specific example of an MSNBC correspondent or anchor being on television saying something they knew was false, and we're saying behind the scenes to people, I'm about to go out, and we know that the election wasn't stolen
You've
or something
illustrated this
equivalent.
example.
But I will go out
saying.
on television and say the opposite. I will lie.
When's my answer?
Just give me the specific example.
I understand the basic
He's just
example.
so eager to go off.
I think it's a false equivalency.
Here it is.
No, it's not. That's your own biases, mainly.
It's not about bias. It's a false equivalency because you don't actually know anything
Bill
about
Burr, or
any
Bill
of these
Burr- yeah,
organizations
Bill
you're talking
Burr.
about. Even
Bill
MSNBC
Maher,
ones.
Jesus.
Big fucking.
HBO.
Darling, it was more than enough.
Real Time with Bill Maher.
You have a single actual fact.
So Russell Brand said MSNBC is like Fox, and this guy works at MSNBC and is saying they're not.
Outrageous criticisms of Joe Rogan
Yeah.
around ivermectin, deliberately referring to it as a horse medicine when they know it's an effective medicine.
Yeah, that's
Non-responsive?
Maddow turning up on the TV saying if you take this vaccine, you're not going to get it when it hadn't been
Non-responsive.
clinically trialed for transmission.
Non-responsive.
You have to listen.
Wait.
Do you think you
Not
can
a
improve
response.
America
I
by
think we could all be
determinedly
better.
and avowedly condemning Fox News without acknowledging
We
that you're
could all be better.
participating in the same game?
Is his answer.
Did you not
Did you
just
pause it?
listen
Wow.
to Bernie Sanders,
No.
someone who plainly legitimately
people are- I'm
trying to talk over so we don't get copyrighted.
He just lost like 75% of people saying listen to Bernie
by
Sanders.
corruption. Is bound by the lobbying system.
No.
Yeah, that's true.
Oh, 100%.
Oh, did he say but Bernie Sanders
No,
is
he's
bound?
like anybody. I can't remember how he worded it, but anybody that's not aligning with Bernie is like, and they're like just part of the problem.
Yeah. Anyway,
he's
he goes up-
saying that Bernie is an actual like what a socialist liberal. No,
Well,
See,
Hold on.
See, you're already doing it.
yeah, I'm not trying to speak for him.
I think
No.
Bernie
But
agrees.
he
that he
talks
is
about
social.
Bernie in the Joe Rogan
It's
episode, and
socially
he's talking about
democratic. social.
social Democrat. There you go.
Yeah.
That's almost what I said.
Close enough socialist. He definitely has socialism in his thoughts, but I would agree that Bernie Sanders was good in the 2016 election, and it got stolen.
Arguing for or against him, I'm just saying.
Oh.
I think he lost a lot of viewers when he said align with him.
I don't
Yeah,
know.
that's probably true.
He's
But,
got a shit ton of following on Rumble right now, and that's where all his free content is. He's doing it like 5 days a week.
Russell
He
Brand?
got kicked off of YouTube.
Russell Brand. Yeah, he got kicked off YouTube, so
'Cause he went
Rumble
kinda-
offered him a deal, and he went with them.
I think he went too ham too early about COVID stuff. That's what got him kicked off of YouTube.
I think even
Oh,
there,
and he
he-
has the fucking documents to prove it, so I don't know why they want to fucking bash him.
that's pretty
Alex
crazy if
Stone.
he's got evidence. Yeah, Alex Stone. God, don't bring him up.
It's just it's everything. Well, it's everything that is proven is not a conspiracy anymore. Like it came out of the fucking lab.
No, yeah, it's so crazy. I had a link for Sunday that didn't happen, but it was some congressional thing, and it was people from Johns Hopkins saying these two studies just came out that are exactly against what the CDC and everything is saying about COVID. I'm not going to get into it too heavy. I'll find the clip. We'll talk about it Sunday. These people are from Johns Hopkins, who is like, top notch in the field of medicine or whatever, saying that these other very top notch studies say masks don't work and the vaccine is probably not good for young people or whatever. Or maybe I need to be specific and nuanced. They were saying that the government of CDC or whoever the fuck was saying that the vaccine didn't cause myocarditis in young people, and they cited a very the most up-to-date study from a very prestigious place. I should bring up the link. Anyways, says it's like ×4 or ×10 in young males. So it was improper to make everyone take it. And so you have these prestigious people saying that to the government, and it's all kind of gone away now, but there was a point in time where vaccine passports were so real. I had to go somewhere for work, and I had a exemption card that I had to give someone when I got off the plane in an American state
What was the exemption card?
because I wasn't vaccinated
You were exempt?
in that state because I was only working there. And on it, it said, I'm only going to the hotel in this location.
Dude, I know people that lost their jobs from the COVID, like had decent jobs in companies for 10 to 15 years almost, and they just dropped them like they were nothing. And I know, I don't want to talk about like myself, but like I know a lot of people that were going to have to get weekly COVID tests that really we didn't even fucking know if they actually worked. But we're going to have to get these tests every single week if you refuse to get vaccinated.
Yeah, I remember the controversy was that the tests were to they had changed the parameter of the test to catch whatever the percentage that would make a positive. They expanded to where like it didn't have to be as concentrated of whatever you're testing for. I hate being vague with this shit, but it's so hard. It always goes back to COVID. Let's get off of it. The last link is back to the Nord Stream thing that I talked about, because Seymour Hersh put out that article saying the U.S. government did it, likely the CIA under direction of the president. The government responded.
What did you say?
Go to the last link of my...
Is it U.S. intelligence says pro-Ukraine?
Yeah.
This is going to get
Probably.
spicy.
So U.S. intelligence says a pro-Ukraine group actually did the Nord Stream pipeline. And like the title of that report goes, oh, the U.S. government is pretty fucking pro-Ukraine. We've doubled what the rest of the world has given them. Or I think we're over what the rest of the world has given them. We've doubled what we gave South Vietnam during the Vietnam War. Or something crazy like that.
Dude.
No. I think we doubled what we gave Afghanistan. We exceeded what we gave South Vietnam with inflation.
It's so fucked.
So they're saying a pro-Ukraine group did Nord Stream. It's like, who's fucking more pro-Ukraine than the U.S. right now?
I think a lot of people, probably. Especially in Europe.
Germany? I read some of that. Yeah, no.
None of those.
Germany is not. Well, they are, but
Isn't China?
Global politics. No. Yes.
At least on paper.
No. China's pro-Russia.
Yeah, China's pro-Russia.
Like a lot.
I thought they were playing both sides for some reason. I don't know.
I mean, they probably are to an extent. Why wouldn't you?
That's what I meant on paper. Like, I'm sure, like, to the public face, they're like, oh, we're pro-Ukraine. Like, you should never invade another country. And then on the back end, they're like, hey, here's all our tanks.
Jay lied in the chat. Vaccinated people getting COVID and spreading it to this day. So why even get the vaccine? Yeah. Hey, look, our audience is somewhat on board with us. I don't like talking about that shit out loud.
I don't like talking about it either.
You get marked as a pariah.
Even to this day, right?
It needs to be talked about.
In certain groups, for sure, yeah.
What if it was just a trial run? Like, they needed to collect all this metadata, like how the success rates and stuff like that?
That's exactly what it was.
So then they just start, like, testing these systems out?
Yeah, like if it accidentally leaked or if it was set free, it got out. Either way, I don't know. I wasn't there, but it got out. And now instead of like promoting like, hey, you should exercise and we should stop eating fast food for a while and we need to like really work on being healthy and natural immunity. Yeah. But natural immunity doesn't profit. So what do? They give it to big pharma. They start throwing out like, that's the thing about a vax is they didn't have 5 to 10 to 15 years of testing it. So they can't give you any answers to say that it is effective. So I'm not judging people that did. There's no reason to fight if you are vaccinated or if you're unvaccinated. This is in the past now. But we need to learn. We need to learn from this and not hate each other.
Yeah,
and not divide as much.
Early on, and even now, it is useful to a certain population.
Excuse me?
But I'm talking about 2020. Like,
yeah,
when that shit was happening, and it's like, oh well. Don't touch cash, and cash is part of their agenda. Like, cash is dirty. Cash will give you COVID, so you need to use your debit card, and we're going to have all these new systems, and they want a social fucking credit system where it's all one, and we don't use cash, and they're going to be able to track everything you do, and if you get out of line and it doesn't match your social credit score, they're going to, nope, you can't buy that.
Yeah. No, I mean, it was known pretty early that vitamin D helped a lot. But what did they do?
Which is so fucking easy to give people. It's so cheap.
Didn't Trump recommend that at one point?
And the ivermectin too. It's used. It's got a Nobel Peace Prize, and it's used on more humans than fucking horses. But they wanted to make Joe Rogan look like he was fucking Satan
you're going
for
off like
saying
Russell
it.
Brand, dog. Oh yeah, no, but in like you were saying, let's promote being healthy and stuff. But what did they actually do? They told people not to leave.
Yeah, don't leave your house.
It's unsafe to go outdoors. That's worse than The Last of Us.
Yeah.
No, and
it was all to see how they can control us with fear. That's all this is.
Going outdoors was actually exceedingly helpful. Vitamin D was dope, and but alcohol use went through the roof because they stopped AA meetings, but you can still go to Home Depot. So like alcoholics,
McDonald's never closed.
If you go one step below, we shut down the economy, and you look at being a person in a society, and if you already have problems, they're exacerbated.
100%.
Some monetary problems for some low-paid people got way better, and so that noise shown the alcoholics going, I can't not now. What like people gained weight, people gained COVID weight. That's a meme.
Yeah.
People drank too much. That's a meme.
I did. I drank way too much.
Texas made it to where you could buy alcohol through the fucking drive-thru.
Yeah, dude, it was great. I would go get chicken wings and a 6-pack of Coors Light, and I'm like, this is a fucking good day.
You know
they were like wanting us to love this pandemic and to separate us and completely divide us by fear. And that's how they control us, is by fear. And I'm not segueing into my theory yet, but it is very relevant to what my theory is about.
J-Light, I worked out too much. It was insane. That makes me think.
I'm glad that you did that, because I did not.
I worked through the whole fucking thing. I was essential the whole way. I
was essential too. I had a shirt that said it. I was like, fuck all y'all ain't essential.
I flew during COVID pretty nonstop. I was on flights with 2 other people in a whole ass fucking plane. Like,
would you say business
laying out? And they were trying to empty bar carts. Like it was before they took alcohol off, when people started getting back on planes and acting a fucking fool. Before that, they were like, alcohol's free, dude. How much do you want? I had like 4 Jack and Cokes on like a 3-hour flight. Just going, yeah, give me another one.
Fill me up.
They didn't charge you. It was crazy.
That'd be pretty badass. I don't know. That sounds terrible. Actually.
Dude, I remember like flying during the pandemic as well. I went to Florida just for vacation.
Yeah, where else are you going?
So many people were like, oh man, Florida's like the worst state with it right now. And I was so fucking paranoid flying over there. Like I wouldn't like touch anything. Like, and that's what's so crazy is where I'm at now, where like I know I'm like, this was all fucking bullshit. But in the beginning, I was like so afraid of everything.
Dude,
like,
okay, this is too much, but I have to give it for perspective. I test airflow for a living. I work in compounding labs where they make drugs in the back of pharmacies. Some really nice pharmacies make the drugs there, and they have to have all this shit. You got to wear a full fucking bunny hazmat suit like you're in Breaking Bad, and I have to do that. So I know what it takes to treat air, to remove everything from it. There's no fucking way I'm sticking my head in the returns of grocery store AC units where all the air is coming into my face. I'm like, I'm gonna get it, and I got it early. Every time there was a new strain, I knew like 3 days before the news knew, because I already had it. I was like, I'm sick again. I get sick once a year. There's a new strain of COVID or something. It was ridiculous. So knowing air, this is
knowing how air works.
Yeah, this virus is in the air, and I'm like, well, I could tell you where it's going to be if you're however long in this store, because there was an article that said you create a 10-foot cloud in 30 minutes if you're infected, and it was like, okay, well, I know how clouds of air function. But tell people you work in HVAC and you're skeptical. People look at you like a fucking idiot. And you go, I know, that's fair, but also.
The classic plastic dividers at checkouts, but only. Yep.
Yeah, being required to wear a mask at a restaurant, but allowed to take it off at the table, dude. That shit was
yeah.
so
That one
stupid.
too was a big joke.
That
They
was
still
a
have
big
those
joke.
stupid ass plexiglass fucking things up where there's a hole so you can hand them your money.
Yeah, still.
It's like, dude, there's a hole in it. You're fucked.
Getting coughed on, which probably.
Oh my god.
a lot of
No,
people
but for real, we should jump into our thing. But
Yeah, we
for
should
real.
get our-
No, like one last comment I was saying a second ago. Our company passed out essential fucking t-shirts, like legitimately. And I was like, am I really supposed to wear this shit where like we're going in a fucking pandemic and you want me to wear a shirt that says essential?
I remember
I threw it away.
just as an aside in my little personal story, I was working out of where I live in Texas, but in Texas. So I'm living out of a duffel bag or whatever. And I show up to the job the next day and they go, you can't come in if you don't have a mask. And I went, where the fuck am I supposed to get a mask? And they went, I have no idea. I had to go to Walmart.
Oh my
I know
God.
how to sew pretty well. So I spent like $7 on fabric and elastic and thread. And I found a little thing on
I
the
remember
internet that
this.
told you how to do it. My mask looked legit. I made girly ones with fucking lacy elastic for my wife and sister.
I think I still have one in my closet. One of you guys made.
That would be awesome. That's my pattern. So I made my own, but there was no, like, people were walking around like with shirt sleeves on their face. And it's like,
Dude,
what are we doing here?
Dude,
people.
they probably had to do that to keep their job. Like they're like had requirements from
They
their employer.
did.
No, that's what I'm saying. Like they didn't have a choice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know how to sew. I'm pretty good at it. I made backpacks in high school and college. I used to make my own backpack every year from sophomore year until my second year of college.
I've got that. My first wallet I made in my car, I think.
Anyway,
Let's
get to the topic. We're talking about alphabet agencies and the weird, fucked up,
shit.
hard to explain or understand operations that maybe don't warrant a whole episode. Maybe some of them do, but we'll decipher that as we go through them. And so I think Jeremy's going to start us off. We got like 15 minutes till the break.
I could do it in 15 minutes.
Okay. Well, I think I'm going to help you a lot, so we're going to bleed over.
Well, you choose which ones you think are important.
No, all I'm saying is I'm out of beer.
Oh, go grab a beer.
Go get a beer. He'll start the story.
All right, get started.
Well, you know what the story is.
Which one is it?
I'm going to start
is it
with
Adam and Eve?
Acoustic Kitty. No, Adam and Eve.
Okay, go to Acoustic Kitty.
This one was one of the most outlandish we found, I guess. So I'm not actually showing it, but Acoustic Kitty. I forget when it was, like 1960s or something like that. They implanted like listening devices into cats, like surgically, and
What?
put batteries inside of them.
What? No fucking way.
And before that, they had to train the cat how to listen to commands. So they had this like cage that they would put them in, and like left meant, or one sound, one beep meant go left, two beeps meant right. And they taught these cats how to like navigate maps based on these signals. And then they put the recording devices into the cats surgically. And I can't remember if it was the only test or it was an actual successful mission. I think the guy was saying that we didn't know for sure, but
No. I know this one. I'm sorry. So they did it like 3 or 4 times.
Okay.
The first cat they release and it gets run over immediately, so they have to do it again. And then by like the 3rd time, they were like, "God damn, it's hard to train cats," so they stopped doing it.
Yeah, I imagine like I was describing, they're using the sounds like left for one beep or something like that, but it'd be pretty rudimentary, like binary almost.
What's really weird, and we'll get into later, they're pretty good at training birds, though. So.
Yes, they are. I was about to say there's like pigeons that were
Birds
tested.
are really smart. It's like a different part of the brain that birds have that cats don't. Cats are stupid.
No, cats are actually not stupid,
They're not
but
stupid.
do not give a they're very like self-centered almost.
Yeah.
It's a different kind of intelligence for sure. But I think birds have a different kind of intelligence that's closer to ours. That's what I meant to say. Because they're lizard people. I mean, they're dinosaurs.
Yeah. It seems like birds are more willing to be symbiotic and cats are like, nah, don't be fucking with me.
No.
But
You got
yeah.
the wrong kind of cats, dude. There are cats that are, I don't know what the right word is. I don't want to say codependent, but I don't know. He was a badass cat.
Nah, dog. Fuck all cats. That's what I'm saying.
Anyways,
Nah, dog.
I'm a dog
That's-
kind of dude.
there's cool cats out there. Don't take all cats are bad. The next one you told me to look up was the Project 1794, whatever it is.
Yeah.
I don't know how legit that was. I mean, I know it's legit, but I don't know.
No, they built it. It's in a museum.
I know, but they didn't like use it in combat of any kind. It wasn't like flying around. There weren't.
No, they gave up because it sucked ass at flying.
I thought they were saying something about record-breaking speeds and maneuverability or something.
That was their goal. They wanted to go Mach 4. But I don't think they ever got that fast.
Well, maybe I read it wrong. I thought they were saying that it did, that it was capable of this stuff.
I mean, I'm willing to be wrong. Let's hope I am. But I think they spent the equivalent of $26 million,
Yeah.
which at the time
His
was like,
estimates for the concept were potential of 3.5.
yeah. And I don't think they got close to that. I think there's videos on the internet of them hovering.
Yeah, and that's always used as like UFO evidence, right? It's an alien craft.
Yeah. They
But
gave
so
up 'cause
that
it
was part of the
wobbled
part
too
that
much.
felt ridiculous to me, is that it was intentionally meant to be psychological, like to make you fear aliens or something like that. Like there was already an alien narrative driven up, so if you saw this thing flying around, they're like, "Oh, UFO! Fuck, we better."
Well, and kind of par for the course, which is always our question on all of these little projects they get into, is like, here's the official end date. But also, we have a pattern of them just renaming shit after 10 years. And maybe refocusing a little bit, but it's still the same concept. Like MK Ultra had a precursor that I can't remember, like Daisy or some bullshit. And there were offshoots of MK Ultra, like MK Delta, and
I think we covered a lot of them
Shit,
in one
Yeah.
of those episodes.
that's in whatever episode that's in. But and so like, is this one has been released? This one has a gas engine and fuel tanks. Is this just like they were like,
Whatever iteration.
let's put this shit out? One of y'all sent a link this week of a podcast with Stephen Greer, the alien guy,
That might have been me.
the like
Yeah,
60-year-old
me.
buff dude
Yeah.
who just sounds like a fucking liar every time he opens his mouth.
Maybe it wasn't me.
Not every
It
time.
wasn't me.
I don't know, but he was talking about he got into like in the 50s we had this blah blah blah. I talked to these people, I'm very high up and stuff, and it's like, I don't believe you. But if you do believe him, then in the 50s when they made this, they already knew anti-gravity, or they could grasp the concept of how it might function.
Are you saying that's why it's bullshit? Or are you saying
Yeah, I'm saying like this is on Wikipedia.
mm-hmm.
So this is what they want us to, they're willing for us to see. I don't think this got leaked. I think they just declassified it because they were like, wasn't this stupid?
That's right.
Or if they did it in malice, they went, okay, let's make one with gas and shit. But behind it, it's called 1749. So no one will ever fucking find it. We'll release 1794. But
There's another one.
1790, yeah, but 1795 is still on the books. Don't fucking talk about it because we're putting black holes in the center of.
That's
like,
what it lines up with Eric Weinstein's stuff he was talking about. He's
Yeah.
like in the 50s, like physics just stalled. Like maybe they did discover this and just were like, we can't let anybody know about this shit. And then they were talking about how we were so much more not technical, but like specific with computers. We were like 30 years before everybody else. Somehow they came up with that number. I can't remember.
Yeah,
But 30 years advanced in computers is like dramatic. So if you had a computer now that was 30 years powerful than yours right now, like you couldn't even
yeah.
fathom
Like,
what that would look like.
could you imagine 30 years before the iPhone? You didn't even have a Nokia with the Snake game.
Yeah.
You're lucky if you have a car phone, dude. or one of those big ass brick cell phones. Like probably the military had it, and that's it. But
it's crazy to think from that perspective because where are they at now? They're what's 30 years beyond.
Well, yeah, and if you like follow that trend, the whatever bomber, the stealth bomber, was 50 years before anyone.
And now
knew
we've discovered or got disclosed on a newer one, right? That's supposed to be even more like. So what's the new one?
Yeah, what are you really using then? Is it Tic Tacs, you son of a bitch?
Dude, I'm very much prescribing to that thought that just 50 years ago they right after that and bomb all that stuff. If it didn't have to be a crashed UFO, but just say some physicist stumbled upon anti-gravity of how to do it.
Mm-hmm.
Like they wouldn't tell you that stuff, especially if it was a national secret. Like they wouldn't even want the idea floating around. They don't want even you thinking of it.
Didn't we do a whole episode on Tesla?
Yeah. And then they killed him. So.
And stole his shit, says his brother. So like,
where did it go?
It's happened. Have we talked about the guy who made a water-powered engine and then died? But his dying breath was like, "They killed me." And then we found out there was a heart attack gun. The dude died of a heart attack. Do you remember that guy's name?
I don't know,
but
I know what you're talking about.
That.
Yeah. No, you talked about it.
I mean,
way back when, because you shocked me when you said there's a heart attack gun.
That's why conspiracies are so hard.
Because everything's connected.
Because if you use precedents like we do in our own court system, there's precedents for some of the craziest shit that's ever happened, dude. That's what this episode's about. Acoustic Kitty. There's a precedence for us putting microphones and speakers in a fucking cat.
That's why what leads me to believe anything you see in science fiction is just based on some real idea, something that somebody said happened in some government operation. I don't know. But like even period pieces is the same stuff. It's just myths and stories of what was going on around then. But it was all based in reality. That was my point. Art imitates reality.
Yeah, that's why it's easy to like when you hear ancient stories that are supposed to be allegories, you go, but if you take this literally, you can map it onto life.
That's a good segue into the Adam and Eve story.
So hit it hard and heavy. I think we covered this half-assedly.
I don't know if we covered it or I just got reintroduced to it in a new light.
I definitely covered it because I couldn't find the full book, but I spent a day trying.
I think we covered it up. I covered it under like a CIA conspiracy, right? Like it was being withheld. But I think all of that's been disproven.
No. They like redacted it.
How many pages was it?
There's one that's real long that I think just recently came out. But there was one that was like 60 pages that they allowed to come out like 10 years after he wrote the first one because it was published and then they pulled it.
That's the conspiracy. That it was like 250 pages and they withheld. They put it classified and then they only released 60 pages.
Yeah,
that's a myth. That wasn't true.
Okay, well, there's an original printing that was long.
Okay, 60 pages.
Then it was CIA classified and they pulled it completely. Then it was republished later, much shorter. And I think the only way you can find the long one, even still today, is if someone has the original first edition, which almost doesn't exist, is my understanding of the situation.
I don't think it necessarily matters how long it was or how much they redacted, but the point that I was going to focus on is that a lot of it has been turning up to come true. Like some of the stuff he was talking about was bullshit, but some of it is like aligning very much with what's happening. And that's the polar shifts and stuff like we've been talking about, which... They'd say like earthquakes are supposed to be a signifying thing of this happening, and
we talked about Turkey. Was that on Funny Nut News?
It's been in the news. I'm sure we covered it.
I think so. I think it was.
Yeah,
I'm sure we covered it when it happened because it was massive. Dude, did you see the picture of the tree being split?
Dude, and that. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
No, that's insane. I can't imagine what that force looks like.
No, that ties in.
We did go over it.
Fucking talk about.
It was like 26,000 people or something crazy like that died in an earthquake, a country size large.
Yeah.
Turkey's not huge, but imagine all of Texas quakes all at 1 minute to the point where buildings collapse. That's insane.
Yeah, fuck that.
It's pretty crazy, but the numbers really don't add up. They say the polar shift isn't that unfrequent of event, but they're talking in terms of like hundreds of thousands of years. So they're like every 300,000 years or so, like we have evidence within the lava somehow that this happens. And it's not that big of a deal. Every 300,000 years, pretty much relative to that. The only issue is that we're like 900,000 years overdue.
Yeah.
We're like 3 times late the average of what is supposed to be happening. And
yeah,
then,
I've seen a lot of scientific papers saying that polar shifts are impossible, but then like if you look at current news scientific articles, it's like our poles stopped moving.
No, they're speeding up right now.
Oh, okay.
Ever since
I
like
had it down
1940, they've been tracking it. They've had issues with satellites. They have to readjust the satellite GPS systems every year based on the polar shift speeding up. Not just moving, but speeding up.
We're gonna get into that a little bit because of what I have coming up, but it's an important note that the physical fake poles we stuck in the ground that's not where a compass is going to take you. A compass is going to take you to like a 10-mile wide circle, and then your compass is going to fuck up.
Yeah, there's not a true there is a North Pole, but that's in the terms of what our axis is on, right? But then there's the magnetic North Pole, which moves.
Yeah, like the thought is a magnet takes you to the pole we stuck in the ground.
Right.
Absolutely, it doesn't.
No, because the magnetic field is a lot bigger in this road.
When they put the pole there, the pole was in the circle that a compass would take you to, but it doesn't anymore.
Yeah, it's crazy stuff. I don't know. I feel like the fact that it's speeding up is kind of a scary indicator. I feel like I personally have been hearing more about volcanoes, but I don't know if that's just buzzwords at the moment. But there was another piece too that the timelines all add up with like all the. So the way that the guy I was watching was putting it, he's like, if you had one flood story, that's just like a myth. If it's 2, oh, that's a coincidence. If it's 40, where they're counting it now.
Yeah.
Like that's a world culture. That's something that happened to like not one civilization, but a civilization that was global, right?
Mm-hmm. But the problem with the Adam and Eve story and the pole shifts is that the explanation of the pole shifts in Adam and Eve is that it's very slight and then it's very sudden to the point where it's a natural disaster globally, which I'm not saying there's an evidence for, but if you have flood stories, you would imagine that you would have. Genesis kind of follows it, but the story in Adam and Eve is that the pole shifts and it takes 7 days for the earth to come back to normal. But the first day, it shifts and the air at the equator and the momentum of the earth doesn't stop, but the poles shift. So everything on earth stops. So everything encounters like 8,000 mile an hour winds. It's utter apocalypse. But we have
sweeping clean there.
Absolutely, that would cause floods. But the 40 flood stories don't say everything stopped and was crazy for a day.
It did say the world was created in 7 days.
Yeah, so Genesis follows it because it's like the earth was created. It took 7 days. But the flood story in the Bible timeline is after that. It doesn't involve shifting of the earth. So I think the flood stories are separate from a pole shift.
I can't remember the way it was described to me, but there's not just like there's Noah's flood, but there's other I think events like that in the Bible. Like New Testament mirrors the Old Testament in a sense, but then Old Testament mirrors what was before the Old Testament, kind of, and that was like the Jewish version of creation, Genesis. But they all mirrored like the earth was created in 7 days, and then Noah's flood was like it was 7 days of this, and then it's all designed to be that way. I don't know.
Yeah, so if we want to talk about the poles,
that was what I was going to segue into you, is saying like if you did have, they call it the Great Reset, and that's why I was trying to bring back in like Randall Carlson and Grant Hancock, because the 11,600 years, whatever they were saying, like the last time something like this happened, it was like all lining up with the Younger Dryas. There was some argument of what would really cause the floods. There are Graham and them were saying it was a meteor impact. I think that's what I'm
stuck on. That's why I'm trying to say.
I think they were saying ultimately this guy is discredited in the destruction level that would happen, right? That's what you were getting at. But that wouldn't say that it wasn't an asteroid that evaporated the ice caps and caused floods.
Yeah.
But that would lead into yours, which I think is I won't spoil it. But if events like this do happen and they are regular events, you would think that you would have some kind of plan over the course of these cycles, right? You would need a place to hide if you knew something like this was coming. If there was some great, grand, ancient civilization, maybe they knew of these events and how to mark them on calendars, right?
Yeah. Well,
Like
in
2012. And then they wrote that into their culture, and then... Anyways.
Y'all have heard of DUMBs, right? Deep
No.
underground military bases?
Yeah.
Where everyone
We talked about
retreats
that on an
to?
episode, too. I think they're digging like a mass underground city.
Dude, the fucking Queen of
Nation.
England, before she died, I think she wrote a book on it saying that the Atlanteans, like when Atlantis sunk, they like found Hollow Earth and went down there, and they have such a great life down there, and that's why they won't come back to the surface, because everything they need is down there, and they have a certain technology that is...
What a segue. Do y'all need a break?
I could run a
yeah, I could.
I don't have to, but...
I could
Personally,
refill
I don't
this,
need one.
whiskey.
I'm
Well,
on
I
the
could-
fence of not needing one.
I could go. I'm driving.
You're driving?
All right, break.
Anyways, break. We'll be right back.
We are back.
I can love those claps. We'll see, I guess.
We shall.
What
The hell is going on in the chat?
Do.
Hold on. I gotta move my dog. She wants to be difficult. Say hi to the camera.
I think people were confused that I either said dung or dong instead of dog. And then I thought, what if you named your kid Dung Funny? And then the do is the Doug theme song.
Doug. Yeah, nice.
All right. Anyway, we're on holiday.
We're on holiday?
Hollow Earth. All right. So another one of the operations, if you will. I think this was just like the military, because Admiral Byrd was in
Who's the
charge
military work for?
the government. So it's all the same. So Admiral Byrd worked for the Navy. He was somewhat of an adventurer he was in the war as a pilot, World War II. And then after that, was somewhat of an adventurer and made 3 trips to Antarctica. On the third one, bring up that link. Let me be specific with it.
Try to be.
It should be the first one under current events. It'll be Admiral Byrd. Look under the picture of the plane. Is what the drive says.
Is there a separate folder for current events?
No, they're all in a row. Skeeter.
See Clayton's notes.
Yeah, it's under that.
And
Then I did a bunch of current events. The last one being pro-Ukraine Nord Stream. We went through that, right?
Okay.
Now pick up right under that. It says Admiral Byrd.
I don't see current events listed anywhere.
I didn't write current events.
I
Just
know.
click that link.
I know.
Okay.
Operation Hydra. This actually, ties into the polar shift too, right?
Yeah, because Operation High Jump is kind of an introduction into Hollow Earth theory.
Yeah.
Which we'll try to explain. But if you scroll down, there's a little map, and then under that map, there's a picture of a plane.
So I was trying to map the magnetic pole, right?
I selected
South
this
Pole.
link for the scope of this project. On the 25th of January, the aircraft carrier, the USS Philippine Sea, rendezvoused with the Northwind, the Oiler, USS Cacapon, the destroyer, USS Bronson, the submarine, USS Senate near Sky Island. Oh, I had that backwards. They were naming the type and then the name of it. Okay, there's like 5 vessels, 5 or 6. Who gives a shit? There's like 4,500 armed dudes. And Admiral Byrd, who had been there twice. And then they send a fleet with 57 tons of construction material to take over Antarctica. At the time, they thought that's where... Okay, y'all know that classic Nazi theory that they fled to Argentina?
Yeah.
Expand it. The reason they went to Argentina is because that's the nearest port to Antarctica. And it is, which is interesting. And Germany had some business in Antarctica. It was thought that they had a base in Antarctica.
Yeah. That Hitler had even moved down there and they were searching down there for Hitler.
Yeah, and they were doing all that weird science shit in Germany, and no one had like explored Antarctica to any significant extent. Like we didn't until after the war, and Byrd did it twice. So on his third visit, we sent like a fucking cavalcade of boats and submarines and men. And I think their primary objective was to make sure there wasn't a German base.
Mm-hmm.
But years and years and years and years later, Byrd's son finds his journal of a day where he's out here flying a plane in Antarctica. And in that journal, the first several entries are like time dated and they're like, we're low on oil, but everything looks fine. And then it goes off the fucking rail. And he's like, we flew by some mountains that I didn't think existed. And then I saw a mammoth and the temperature outside is 74 degrees and everything's green on the ground. Just like, I'm flying through Antarctica. Now I see a woolly mammoth and greenery. And 2 saucers fly up next to him and his controls stop working. And they're just controlling his plane and they have swastikas on them. And they fly him, they control his plane down into a subterranean existence, which is like, there's so much here. Hang on, I have notes. And I didn't write it. Okay. Oh, it was okay. So they fly him down, and he lands, and they tell him to get out. He gets out, and he sees like 6 foot something, blonde-haired, blue-eyed dudes who say, "Welcome to Adiaki. This is where we live." And they're like aliens, but they have swastikas on their ships or whatever. And they basically have a meeting with him, and they're saying, y'all figured out how to do nukes, and that's not good. Y'all can't control that power. So go tell Eisenhower. They already know we're here, but go tell them that we said stop fucking with nukes. We let you in because you're a good person. So this book is found years later by his son or whatever. The crafts are called flugel rods.
Mm-hmm.
They called themselves the Adiaki people, and they called the land New Schwabenland.
Yeah, I've seen that.
And what's weird is that if you look at ancient cultures, there's a similar scenario called Agartha. There should be will you pull up the map under Agartha?
Is it in the notes?
Oh, no, it's under Buwachi map, 1754. Yeah, it's in the notes. It's under Flugelrod. So he has this whole experience in a crystal city, he called it, with like super far advanced people who told him to tell the US government stop using nukes. But he's like this famed adventurer who's already been to Antarctica. So it's like a crazy ass story. And then there's several instances of like books and stuff coming out that kind of tell the same experience. There's also some ancient cultures who mirror the existence of an underground culture in the middle of the earth.
That site is just evil, Clayton. I'm sorry.
In what way?
It was like one pop-up after another. It was freezing my computer.
The one under the Buwachi map?
Mm. Let me try to reopen it and read it or something.
Yeah. Because there's a map from 1754 that shows Antarctica.
Damn.
But so the theory goes that there's a culture underneath the earth and there's portals at the poles. Did y'all see Kong versus Godzilla?
Yeah.
Kong goes into the Hollow Earth.
Hollow Earth, yeah. It was weird how they added that in there.
It was a pretty good interpretation.
It was, yeah. I
What these
really
people
enjoyed
say.
it.
There's also another map called the Perry-Reese map, which is argued whether it's showing South America or Antarctica.
Yeah.
But that one's from like the 1500s. But he describes the part that would be Antarctica that is actually pretty close if you translate it to a modern map, or a modern map of those times with the ice growth and however large that was. But it said that that area was warm. And if you look at that Buwachi map, I think it has land bridges to connecting continents.
Is it this the right one?
No. Go up or down or something. There should be another map on that page. It's a little more green than yellow.
So it's not this map either?
No.
It's all the maps.
Oh, good. I Googled a bunch of maps.
Wait, this is the green map.
Yeah, the top one.
Yeah?
Ooh, Elon Musk throwing some stuff. Hang on. Could you imagine the land where all the worst people disappear to? I think it's Epstein Island.
Jeebus.
Aliens just telling us to cut it out. Disabling nukes coming down and making sure us dumb apes don't go killing each other. Okay, so that ties into the very first episode that we did that we lost, where I said all the aliens were disarming all the nukes. It was an alien episode.
Mm-hmm.
My whole section was how aliens were fucking with nukes, which is, if aliens ever came here, they were turning off nukes.
Did you?
So it's weird to have them say that, but this is where shit branches and goes kind of crazy. There's a story of some kind where Bird goes back and tells people. They tell him not to tell anybody, but his immediate superior gets thrown out of a window at a hospital, much like that MK Ultra story.
Mm-hmm.
And Bird never tells anybody, but his son finds the book. And the extension of that is that Eisenhower made a deal with them that we wouldn't use nukes, and they could steal people to study, but they couldn't, like, just to keep them from, like, taking over the Earth or whatever. And that is why the missing 411, why people go missing in national parks, because we made a deal with the inner Earth people that they could take people every once in a while. Yeah.
Caves are also dark and deep.
Yeah.
Yeah, people are probably
no, it's like part of like urban legends or like ghosts or something like that. Something you see in the park, but it is statistical. I mean, you can't say people just go missing around national parks, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
and then Elon said, "Isn't it interesting? No one can go to Antarctica." Yeah, and you have to have a guide. Probably part of that is because it's really hard to be there and you might die. But
yeah,
maybe that's part of it.
Yeah.
That's a big part of it, is that a lot of parts you can't go to because we just can't handle how cold it is. But they are having shit.
Have you guys seen The Thing?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's a great
What's his name? Something's The Thing. I have the Xbox.
John Carpenter?
Yeah, John Carpenter. I have the original Xbox The Thing game.
What?
I never played it.
Joel watches that every time there's a snowstorm.
And so the Hollow Earth theories branch off, and it's 100% theory and there's almost no fact, but the only residual this happened is Operation High Jump with Admiral Byrd or whatever. Some people think that we were invading an existing Nazi base. Some people think that Germany got so technologically advanced because they had made contact with the Inner Earth people. And some people think it's not even related to Germany. We just found Inner Earth people instead of Germany. And then down that rabbit hole, it splinters 20 ways as to what has been seen or found and what might be. I found a 2-hour video of a guy explaining how planets don't work unless there's a star inside, and we've been lied about how Earth is built as far as a mantle and a core and crust and the shifting of that. He's like, there's no way a planet holds itself together if there's not a gravitational force in the inside, and the only thing that creates that is stars. And I'm like, I don't know if that's true. And then he goes, the aurora borealis on every planet circles around the poles, and the only reason they do that is because that's where the gravitational forces and the electromagnetism of planets comes out. And so it doesn't really have anything to do with the sun. It's the planet's reaction to what is happening. It was a very long and convoluted video that
Does that tie into Hollow Earth?
He was explaining how planets are hollow.
Well, yeah.
Like the moon rings. If something hits the moon, it rings. There's something about when we landed on Earth, or when we shot the nuke at it. No, there was a plan to. I don't think we ever did. Something hit the moon and it rung forever.
They were gonna nuke the moon?
Yeah. Yeah, they were fucking crazy with those nukes, dude. Project Manhattan went nuts. We never even delved into that.
No, we didn't.
There was a plan.
Well, we wanted to wait for the movie.
Why would they? What experiment would they be running trying to nuke the moon? I want to see what happens if we're ever in a situation where we have to nuke the moon.
It was probably the biggest missile, and they were like, "Do you think we can take out the moon?" And they were like, "We should definitely try."
That has ever been anybody's thought.
We should definitely let the ocean tide just do whatever the fuck it wants after we destroy the moon.
There's a hollow moon hollow moon theory too.
Yeah. Well,
it's made of cheese, dog.
No, so there's aliens living, like it's a alien base or something like that.
I tempered my digging a bit because I want to make y'all look up. There's so many paths. We're gonna find 3 different paths in Hollow Earth.
No, it's interesting. Some of the
we don't have to do this season, but it's kind of crazy and interesting. It's more enticing to me than Flat Earth.
Yeah, definitely.
The Earth's hollow. You can go 3D with it instead of.
Yeah, because Flat Earth makes absolutely no sense.
I don't think it makes any sense. But Hollow Earth does make sense to me. I don't know why.
I know, right?
Like over hundreds of thousands of years of civilizations, you don't think they went?
One of the green map was Agartha. It was the map of all the tunnels that go in to the Earth. There's like several different spots, but both poles.
Mm-hmm.
And there's another branching theory that all those deep underground military bases are man-built doors to inner Earth. Like they don't stop in the middle of the Earth; they keep going and they interact with the other side, and that's how that they look like Ken Barbie dolls, right? So that's how that civilization has infiltrated and interacted with ours with seemingly no.
It would just be the aliens to me.
Existence. Yeah,
these would be the aliens, the people that have been living in the Earth. I was gonna say it ties back to even Graham Hancock. There's some civilizations that they have evidence of when some of these massive floods and stuff, they would dig holes, like they instinctively knew to go underground because it was the only place to survive these catastrophic events. So if it was if it was some civilization that was withstanding some of this stuff, like they would have these techniques, and
it's the most natural place to go. I mean, the first civilizations that we know scientifically for sure that existed in North America were the mound building people. They lived in hills. They built their own hills as homes and lived underground, but above ground. And there's so many South American cultures that dug them into cliffs. There's like entire cities and cliff sides that are abandoned.
Dude, it's built into the name.
All the fucking
you talk about your ancestors.
Neanderthal bones are found in caves and shit like that.
Neanderthals are called cavemen.
Yeah. Why wouldn't you dig all the way down?
Why are they called cavemen? They lived in caves. Maybe they went the other way with it too. But if you say we evolved from cavemen too, then there was maybe another offspring of the species that just stayed in the dark, right?
Do you remember? Well, they think there's light down there because the center of the Earth is a star.
You know what I mean? They would just found other means. Instead of going up, they went down.
Yeah,
through the caves.
When we were talking about Graham Hancock and Randall Carlson, do y'all remember that story of one of the explanations for an immediate catastrophe is that there were flash frozen woolly mammoths with food in their bellies?
I did see that, yeah.
They think that happened because they ate in the inner Earth. They walked out and died in the Antarctic regions. That's why there was still fresh food in their belly. because they had just ate and then they just died.
Oh, shit.
Then you have to kind of get rid of the carbon dating and everything we probably did when we found them. But
Yeah, that seems, I don't know, far-fetched.
all of Hollow Earth is woo-woo shit past Operation High Jump. It's like, why don't you just watch Kong versus Godzilla? But it's also very interesting.
It is
Because there's a
interesting.
lot of old cultures with stories of their ancestors coming up from the ground. And there's a lot of like allegorical stories that just seem to match up in ancient history.
I don't know. It's kind of a tough one. If they went underground, then how do they... Like, they wouldn't have had astrology or anything like that. It'd be a different path.
Yeah, but somehow they're like way more technologically.
Yeah, I heard they were able to. I forget how it.
Unless
exactly
they carried it down
happened.
there with them.
Yeah, they like were able to get some technology that's so much more advanced than ours, and it literally gives them any and everything they need and want. So they have no need to come back up
Yeah.
onto Earth because they have everything they need down there. Why would you go somewhere else if you already have everything you need?
Here's a question I'm going to ask as an ignorant person.
Ignorant?
How do we have a model of what our planet is made up of? How do we have
Aren't you
an
going to be a
assumption?
geologist or something like that?
I was going to be geographer, which is very different.
Very different. It's similar.
No, it's not at all. Geography is locations. Geology is rocks.
What is geography if not rocks?
Geography is location.
Which is just rock. Anyways.
Oh,
Certain types of geography that are based on geology, yes?
no.
Okay, anyways.
They're two very different separate fields. You can intertwine them and be like, oh, these rocks are only found in this location.
Geographer.
But if you're a geologist, you're like, what kind of fucking rock is this?
It kind of matters where that rock is from, though. Right?
All of science is intertwined.
That's all I was trying to say.
Okay. Well, I hate your point. And I'll argue it to the death of me. Great, go ahead.
What
Oh,
makes-
no.
shit.
What I wanted to
Okay.
tie all together. We talked about Project 1794.
hmm
That the U.S. tried to make UFOs. And I perceived that as a front for what we were actually probably trying to do as far as propulsion. Because in the 50s, mind you, we already had that bomber that we were talking about, the stealth bomber that could not be seen on radar. But we're trying to make flying saucers with gas-powered engines. That seems ridiculous. We just took every German from Germany that did all the science in the fucking world. I think it's lost on people how far ahead Germany was technologically.
Mm-hmm.
I think we covered that in one episode, Oppenheimer and all the guys building the...
Yeah, no, we definitely did. So this is the train I'm going down. Bullshit, we tried to build UFOs. We have all the German scientists. We probably have sneaky UFOs. Bird goes to the Hollow Earth, sees UFOs with swastikas on them. This is the technology that's not being shown to us or whatever. And so I think Drake's going to get into Blue Beam. And do you mind if I introduce it as far as what my interpretation of it is? I kind of do this to you a lot. You can take the reins if you want them.
You can do it, and then I'll
Okay.
just repeat it.
In my mind, Blue Beam is a false flag attack. Or not attack. A false flag event where aliens are invading. Correct?
Yeah, that's part of it. That is absolutely part of it. That's just one minor section of it.
That's the part I'm trying to tie into.
Yeah. Then
We made fake UFOs. One of our guys said he's found some. They were talking to the Germans. We got all the German scientists. We probably know how to make UFOs. Project Bluebeam, go ahead.
Yeah, so Project Bluebeam, it's only from the 1990s. It's a conspiracy theory which claims that NASA and the United Nations is attempting to implement a New Age religion with the Antichrist as its head and to start a new world order. Yeah. To start
did
a
it have
new
to make it
world
biblical?
order.
Sorry.
Antichrist. Neil
Yeah.
deGrasse Tyson?
Anyways,
Well,
Drake.
it's Klaus Schwab or Bill Gates. So
I think one of the things. I'm sorry.
God damn it! I can't even tell them what it is because you all shut the fuck up.
One of the things about the Antichrist is no one will know it's the Antichrist. Go ahead.
Yeah, that's absolutely right. So the Bible says. So yeah, it's so once again, it's basically like NASA and the United Nations are forming together to create one religion and one world government, and they'll do that through technologically simulated ways, I guess, like a second coming, basically. So the guy who like first came up with this was Serge Monasta. Yeah, I'm gonna butcher his name. I'm sorry.
I think he's a singer for System of the Down.
No, that's close, but same first name.
Yeah.
He is from Canada. He's French Canadian, which reminds me of like the South part.
Oh,
French Canada is the best Canada.
Is his name really Sergey then?
It's Serge.
I don't think. I don't know that.
Serge Monast. Yeah, Serge Monast. He's a Canadian investigative journalist, poet, essayist, and conspiracy theorist.
I could be totally wrong, but I don't think the French language has a hard G.
It's a J.
Or a G.
It's a J.
But no, I'm saying it's not a J.
It's a surge.
In
Surge.
French.
It's
okay.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter.
Yeah, either way, you're arguing his name.
It's like Jean-Pierre.
Jean-Pierre?
It's specifically not Jean, it's Jean. So I'm saying it's probably Sergey, not Serge. It doesn't matter. Keep going. I'm sorry.
So Serge Monasta, like I said, he is from Canada. He was part of the Social Credit Party of Canada. He's dead. He was a journalist, a poet, and an essayist since the 1970s. So like he was doing this thing for over 20 years. Here's the hard part is like once we break this theory down, you're like, damn, like I kind of agree with a lot of this. And it's like, damn, you also could just be like a real fucking paranoid person that just fell too far down the rabbit hole. Like there's a point where like you have to not fall down too many layers of it because then you're just lost and you won't be able to come back. And then you'll be like Alex Jones where you think everything is a fucking conspiracy.
That's how Hollow Earth is. But also there's a little part of me that wants to know what's at the bottom. I don't want to believe it, but I do want to know.
We probably can't handle it.
I want to know.
We'll find out. So he came out with a book in 1994. It's called Project Bluebeam, NASA, and it explains the whole theory. So I want to kind of explain the theory for a little bit, and then I want to talk about what happened with Serge after he wrote this book within 2 years. And it's weird that this is happening. All this happens in like 3 years. Which
the
is like
Coca-Cola Corporation made a drink, named it after him, drowned him in it.
Close. Very close, but you didn't nail it. Sorry.
Okay.
But it kind of reminds me of like how fast the CIA was able to corrupt Charles Manson and his followers, just like that 3 years. And it's weird how all these threes come in, you know what I'm saying?
369 Tesla's right.
So, step one, in order for the elites and the New World Order to make this happen, they need to destroy all religion. And by doing that, how they can do that is through manufactured, artificially created earthquakes that will hit strategic spots around the world. And it's kind of weird, like that one just happened in, what were we saying, Turkey?
Yeah.
And so that, like, and God knows how many people that's killed. And so this is what Serge is all saying. Basically, the government has the technology to make this happen, he thinks. And once the earthquakes take effect, they're going to reveal ancient artifacts that will discredit all religions and prove that everyone has been misled. So everyone that's up here believing that Christianity is right or Buddhism is right or whatever, Oh God, what are y'all blowing up about?
Nothing important.
Good.
I think
So
Christianity's on the decline of population right now too.
Yeah, it's like yeah, definitely.
Their
So
curves have inverted to where they're like actually in trouble.
do what?
So like in America, we're not going to get Social Security. Everybody that's getting paid out by Social Security is getting paid out by current taxes, which is not how that system was built. But in Japan, it's to the extent to where they would never be able to afford that Social Security. There's so many more, Japan and China, I think. There's so many more old people than young people that they like. It's crushing their economy and their country that people aren't having kids.
Yeah, I mean that's their fault at the end of the day. Okay, so yeah, step 1: earthquakes will destroy the world and prove that every man-made religion is misled, and it will show the actual answers. Step 2: there will be a giant show from space. This is where what I'm talking about, where you think he might be a little cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs.
Did he say we were going to create the earthquakes?
Yeah, it
Yes.
says artificially manufactured.
Artificially manufactured earthquakes that we create through our technology. And I mean, that's and okay, so he said this in 1994. As this continues, just have that in your head and just think this dude was spitting this off before half this technology was readily available for the public.
I mean, we had to convince Jeremy not 3 weeks ago that DARPA was controlling the weather and that Middle Eastern countries make it rain on themselves by seeding the air.
Mm-hmm.
It is a known thing that cloud seeding exists.
I don't think they're creating clouds. I think they're making clouds release moisture.
They're making it rain on.
Okay, what a bullshit technicality you just pulled out.
They're not
Anyways,
shooting something in the air and then a cloud goes whoosh, and then it starts raining. They have a cloud and they shoot it with a chemical and then the moisture just falls. Is that not way more plausible, but still the same thing?
I think they can seed that section of atmosphere to the extent to where even if there's no clouds,
Where does that
the
moisture
water-
come from?
it's already in the air.
That's what.
They're making it collect. So yes, they can create clouds because if there are no clouds and they
Doesn't matter.
seed, the moisture
matter.
still collects. No, it doesn't matter. And I am talking out of my ass. But my other point is that's not earthquakes. I would not put it past us to be able to create earthquakes.
Well, it goes
But-
back to Tesla. He had some machine that he could attach to a bridge and it would vibrate. And like, you can expand that technology and say maybe
The resonant frequency or whatever.
yeah, maybe they have some focal points on the fault lines, and like we just shake these so much that it's such a vibration, and then you get the crack in the crust right here.
Go a step deeper. That's how some people think the pyramids were built, that we were controlling those stones with sound. So anyway,
Either way.
there's a tangent for you, Drake. Keep going.
Yeah, for real. Step 2, there will be a giant show from space. So with this, there's supposed to be like 3-dimensional hologram images that will beam across the sky. And for every like nation that believes in whatever religion, it will show the God you believe in up in the sky with these 3D holograms. So for America, it would be Jesus Christ, and so on and so forth throughout everybody
If there
else.
was a hologram image of white Jesus Christ in the sky right now, I'd be losing my shit.
Wouldn't you? But what's hard is like Muhammad, you can't put him on paper from what I understand. Like there's no like drawings or shit like that of him.
That would be the
And-
most blatant way of disproving Christianity to me.
So like that's like the hardest part about this part is like one, making it happen, but then two, like if you can't draw him or like know what he looks like, then how the fuck is that even going to happen? Either way, all these gods will show up in the sky through these 3D holograms, and at one point they will all merge into one god, and then that's who will be like the god, and that's who.
Then
As soon as the government takes over,
no,
the Antichrist will be like, "This is our god."
And
What?
then
No, it turns into a Tupac concert. They all come
It's-
together.
he's like,
California.
"Not in the clique you claim."
and everybody partied.
Saw we ride.
Like it legitimately turns into Tupac.
That's insane.
Pretty far down the road.
Oh, it's great, man. It's fucking awesome.
Oh, do you want a classic joke? I'm gonna throw it out here because we talked about Tupac.
Tupac?
I am going to make salt and pepper shakers, and one of them is going to be Tupac, and one of them is going to be Biggie, and it's going to be called Tupac Shakers.
Tupac Shakers. Yeah, Tupac Shakur. No, I fucking get you.
Okay.
I like it. You should do it. Maybe you'll become rich.
I wonder why Clayton looks all laggy, but Drake doesn't. Go, Drake.
Because I don't lag. I'm just kidding. So, yeah, the movie screen, like, so the way they said they would accomplish this is through space satellites, and it'll make the entire fucking sky a massive movie screen, and that's how it'll form all into one god, and then over the whole sky everyone will see this one god and everyone will bow, and then the Antichrist will take over and be like, this is where, out of fear, you are ours. And
do you
so
think it's gonna be like when someone dies in the Hunger Games and it just shows their picture and goes
cannon sound goes off?
It's like God, and then they all burn.
it's like a Mighty Morphin God.
It does make me wonder what he did see or what he was exposed to make him think that we even have that technology to do that.
I didn't know the weed was that good in fucking 90s.
They all just turn into Zordon, dude.
So, oh, dude, it's getting hot in here now. I'm laughing too much.
2 Janes.
Rangers. God.
Get the fuck out of here.
This is floating in. Oh, sorry.
I want to be the green god.
I want to be Goldar.
That'd be cool.
Rangers.
So step 3.
So well.
Step 3 fucking hits home. Listen to this shit. So in 1994, Serge said that AI will use mind control from rays that have stored our data to control our minds. So it literally like ties in with the social media episode we did, where they're collecting all of our data. Even if you're on Facebook or pick a platform and you're not using it, but you're still scrolling, they're collecting that. So they're still collecting all your data. It doesn't matter. So the fact that in the 1990s, he's saying that AI will fucking track everything you're doing and they will recreate memories out of your stored data in order to brainwash you and tell you this is reality.
That sounds pretty spot on.
That's
what's happening right now.
Fucking crazy. Yeah, and what's that? The neuron. I shouldn't talk about. I shouldn't. Yeah, Neuralink. I was about to say I shouldn't talk about what I don't know.
I posted that in the content sharing.
But that isn't that like spot on too? Like what they're talking about that, where it's like, I don't know. I shouldn't talk about it. I don't know too much about it.
No, that reminds me of my mom isn't even necessarily super religious, but the passage where it talks about everyone's going to have the mark of the beast, and people compare that to cell phones because it says you won't be able to do commerce without it, and you'll willingly want it or something to that extent. So it with Apple Pay and Android Pay and stuff like that, it's getting closer and closer to like the mark of the beast is actually your phone.
I heard a lot of different iterations, but it was the same sentiment.
Yeah, but what you're getting at kind of reminds me of that.
Well, like, I mean, if you don't say phone necessarily, if you just say social security card, like that opens the door to a whole lot more.
And that's awful. Right?
Yeah, I mean, you want to tie it back to the beginning of the podcast, VaxPass, that would have been.
That's what I was going to suggest earlier. Is it was like a trial run, and that's why I think Bluebeam comes up a lot whenever you start talking about COVID and alien invasions and stuff like that. Is because it's kind of like, I don't want to say an artifact, but it's like some kind of like weird effect or real weird evidence of something like this really going on.
Yeah, well, it's like anything that kind of seems like could be placed in the Book of Revelation. Maybe that's just me who grew up Christian or whatever, but like anything that is all encompassing like that is like, no, what the fuck are you doing? Don't do that.
Yeah. Speaking of growing up Christian, step 4.
Oh, that
I was playing. But no, it literally ties in because step 4, convince alien invasions and the rapture. So like you just said, like convince, because you got to think like who are the hardest people to believe in like propaganda and like shit like that? Religious people, because they're so dead set on their faith that you have to like break them away from that. So all the people that aren't, according to Serge, like he's like the government would throw it, the governments would throw, NASA and the United Nations would throw down this fake alien invasion and then the rapture, make that happen, and then they, out of fear, control the populations. And that's when the Antichrist will take over and be like, here we go. Let me lead y'all. I'm your guide. I'm this and that. And we will think that it's like this savior. Like Clayton was saying, we won't know it's the Antichrist because it probably won't be somebody. So it can't, at the end of the day, unfortunately, I say unfortunately, I don't want the Antichrist to be anybody, but it can't be Trump or Klaus Schwab or Bill Gates, these evil fucking people, because it has to be somebody. It could be fucking Elon. I don't know. But it's like we don't know who it is. This is the prime director. I said director. The prime directive for the New World Order is to control us out of fear. So that's the 4 steps. That's what he believes will happen. Some of that is happening now. Some of it hasn't happened. Obviously, we don't see Jesus Christ in the sky and out in the lights. And so I think we're not fully into, if this is all true, into this theory. But some of it, it's like, damn, dude, for the 1994, this is spot on. So what's fucking crazy is this guy, in my opinion, was suicided. So
suicide?
He was suicided. He was Epstein. He was Epstein because
I mean, we talked earlier. The CIA literally made a fucking heart attack gun.
Yeah,
so.
And he died of a heart attack. So
let's take being suicided off the list of conspiracies. People are suicided.
People are suicided. He was Epstein.
Is it one of the examples where there's a bullet hole in the head, but they said it was a heart attack?
No. So this, like the dude I talked about last week, Yankee, that was fucking brutally tortured before apparently he shot himself in the head, which was
Terrence
Yankee. So Serge,
we have a Clinton episode.
Oh God. 1994, he releases that book, Project Bluebeam, NASA. 1995, he's talking about how he's being hunted by these agents and these government workers, and he doesn't know who they are. At one point, they take away. He homeschooled both of his kids. He had a son and a daughter. He's homeschooling both of them. The state comes in and takes them away because they are like, you're not in your right mind. Basically, they like threw the mental health thing on him just because of his book. Swooped his kids away from him.
He gets Ruby Ridge, dude. I mean, they took his kids away by force, and it was because they put him up. But like.
No, that ties it back into in a weird way, because if it was with the intention of creating a new world order, you would want to take away as many guns as possible.
The state said that they had to take away his kids so they could have a public education. Which was so fucking stupid because so many people homeschool their kids and they take them away because of that.
The weird thing about homeschooling is that you have to prove to the state that you are teaching your kids.
Yeah.
Which I appreciate to some extent because I don't want people who can't add walking around. But I don't appreciate that you have to qualify for the state in any manner. Like, what is it your business what I'm teaching my kids?
Why live in that state?
It's every state. It's the federal government.
I mean, why live within that state that you're living in?
No, it's federal. It's every state. You telling me to move to Mexico and not teach them anything?
No, that's not what I'm saying.
You can't move. You cannot move to not a country. And I imagine every country has some type of stipulation on what you teach them.
I'm just saying, if you're going to live within the bounds of something, then you're expected to function within those bounds, and that, to me, is what education is supposed to be.
I don't disagree, but I would posit that my parents given they didn't work full-time jobs, could have taught me better than a formal public education.
I don't doubt that. I'm not arguing against that anyway.
But
I would
in
have never
every
taken
subject,
physics. No. And I'll extend that into I would have never taken physics. I would have known nothing about trigonometry. But I think at 18 years old, I would be better prepared for the world I find myself in.
I agree with that.
I agree with that.
I would have known how to fucking do taxes. I would have known what taxes are.
Yeah. Paying taxes, like not anymore necessarily like writing checks, but like writing a check back in the day.
Balancing a checkbook. Yeah. No,
balancing a checkbook. Yeah.
Just
different. Yeah. Different stuff. Different stuff.
We had classes we were writing checks in.
Well, you were like 8 years older than me. No, I'm just kidding. You're not that much older than me.
You old bitch.
I might be.
No, but like the first time I did laundry in college, I turned all my whites pink. So like,
I grew up knowing how to do that.
I was unprepared to be on my own.
Maybe
as
that's
far
your
as
fault.
living as a person.
Yeah.
Just kidding.
But let me wrap this up.
The Pythagorean theorem.
Fuck the Pythagorean theorem.
Oof.
Okay, so I had some information wrong a second ago. So yeah, it was 1995 and 96. He was saying he was being hunted by police and authorities for involvements of networks of prohibited information. So in 1996, so in September of 96, what happened?
I don't know.
I'm not going to stop. In September of 96.
You gotta stop.
God damn it, no.
Elon in chat said my mom had a personality disorder, so I would have had a full school of teacher. It's like the dude from Split is teaching you school.
That was Patricia.
Yeah.
Patricia told you 3 + 5 is 9.
Do you want to go play Pokemon cards?
Got all kinds of friends.
Anyways,
God,
Drake.
this is
So
funny
in-
materials. We
in
gotta get
Sep-
funny sometimes.
Yeah, in September of 96, that's when they took his kids away. So in December of 1996, he's 51 years old. He gets arrested and he spends the night in jail. The next day he comes home and boom, he dies of a heart attack. And everyone is like, that was suspicious as fuck. What is going on? And then the media and everybody is like, well, of course, it's he was too lost down the loophole of paranoia with all the information he thought he had and this crazy theory and he's crazy and we had to take his kids from him and all this bullshit. So it just seems like he's just put on that list with all these other people we've been talking about where they had some information that could get a lot of people in trouble. And they were taken out as quickly as possible, and they were stalked for as long as they could be in order to make sure they could pull this execution off. And then they do it, and then no one bats an eye. And then we're talking about it on a podcast over 20 years. Not even, yeah. It's 1996, and it's 2023, and now we're talking about it? Like, what the fuck?
It seems, I'm trying to find, like, was there any trial after they took his kids? What did he like contest to?
It was, I mean, September they took him away. December he was dead. So I doubt anything legally was done that quick because the legal system is not quick.
Well,
are you talking about Yaki?
No, we're talking about Monesta.
Oh, okay. Well, the same thing happened with Yaki, in which they're supposed to do autopsies on police officers or whatever is supposed to be followed when. What you were talking about last week as far as Timothy McVeigh and the officer that died. What was supposed to happen after his death did not happen. They specifically did not look into it. So
they just completely like zoned over it and
were
like, no, it was suicide and he was depressed even though there was no suicide note and his body was mutually tortured before he was dead over a mile from his car. Get the fuck out of here.
No, and I mean relate that to modern day. I mean 2 years ago, but 2 or 3 years ago, Epstein, when they said he died by hanging himself on his bunk bed.
Yeah.
And, I mean, if he tried real fucking hard, maybe, but didn't he have a bunkmate that was, like, ready to kill him?
Who's publishing this stuff, too?
What do you mean?
I'm reading his wiki, and he's like, he published the Bluebeam book, and then a year later, he published another book. Or
he put some stuff out. Yeah, he put a bunch of stuff out.
Who's publishing it? Who's funding this stuff?
I think it was Fuck, who was it? I think I saw it earlier.
That seems
I guess
kinda crazy.
something in Canada. People, Canadian publishers. I really don't know.
If NASA went into, I guess, North America, it would have been Canada involved with it too, huh?
NASA controls everything. They're like, hey, we can't take a picture like on Earth and make it fucking look nice from far away, but we can take a picture of this fucking planet or a star that's a billion miles away and it looks perfect.
Yeah.
He was assassinated by a psychotronic weapon.
Oh, dude, did y'all hear? I think Puerto Rican people in the U.S. Embassy 3 or 4 years ago were having health problems, and I think the culprit ended up being like a sound gun that you can't hear.
Mm-hmm. That would make sense.
Like just random frequencies that like really fuck with your body's functioning, but you don't audibly notice.
Apparently, they made a movie about this guy, and it
I feel
stars
like
Mel
they
Gibson.
make movies on all of it, and it's just a way for us to be conditioned to think that it's science fiction and fake, and that none of that can really happen because Hollywood's making a fucking movie about it. But like Hollywood's ideas are based on like true shit that's happened half the time. Maybe I've gone too far.
I want to watch this movie. It sounds really intriguing. It mentions
What movie is it?
It's called Conspiracy Theory. Mel Gibson, Julia Roberts, 97.
Oh shit! Have I
Dude, it
seen
mentions
that?
MK Ultra, LSD.
Is it by Mel Gibson?
No, it's based on the guy that Drake was just talking about that exposed Bluebeam or wrote about.
Who's it
Bluebeam.
directed by? Was my point. Richard Donner. Oh, written by Brian Helgard. No, okay.
No idea who they are.
I only say that because when Mel Gibson did Passion of the Christ,
That would have been later, right?
yeah.
04 or something? Or 3?
He was catching heat because of how graphic it was. And he was like, dude, if I did what they said in the fucking Bible, it'd be XXX rated. Like,
Oh yeah.
I skirted the line on R for a fucking reason. So if he's doing a movie called Conspiracy Theory, I would be like, well, he's going to do it to the nth degree and then shout racial things at his ex-wife and tell her he's going to kill her. Mel Gibson.
Mel Gibson for you guys.
Yeah, he's crazy.
Mel Gibson is an interesting guy.
He's a good actor. I don't know if he's a good guy.
I said interesting guy.
My bad.
See you
All
next
right.
week. All right, Clayton. Bye.
No, I'm saying like no. He
I
Elon's
missed
saying
Elon's, my bad.
Elon's in our chat.
I saw it.
Was that the it's on screen. Everyone knows.
No, it's just
Was that your last point, or is there more pontification? Or
man, it just ties in with the alien stuff that's coming down right now. Like the Biden and our government thinks like, oh yeah, don't worry, we'll protect you. We'll shoot this shit out of the sky, even though we don't know what it is. Like if aliens were actually fucking attacking, the last thing we would do is shoot it down. Because in my opinion, if aliens are coming from the sky, and it's like we see in Independence Day and all these other movies, and then our little guns and $450,000 missiles are not going to be shit to someone who just broke into our atmosphere and is flying it in ships that can defy our physics. So like anyone, like any of these warmonger, like world leaders that think that they can take on what an alien is portrayed is fucking crazy. But it's just fear and like and control that they're doing. They did it with the vid, they're doing it.
You're not Jack Black. This is not Mars Attacks.
Yeah, like great movie. But
that's why the theories that involve aliens subverting, like we've talked about David Icke a little bit. His if we're gonna talk about aliens, I am more prone to believe that shape-shifting reptilian people have intermingled with us than I would be to believe an actual full-on assault from an unknown alien origin is happening.
Like they traveled across space.
Yeah, the full-on assault like we saw in Avengers makes no sense.
Unless it was interdimensional.
True. But even then, I think that advance of a society would just subvert and take over if they had any ill will.
Not unless they were farming.
I mean, to be an intergalactic civilization, interdimensional or whatever, like, why are you not prepared to play the easy long game where you just become president and divert all of our resources?
I'm so confused.
Like, why would you not just subvert the entire world to harvest whatever you're trying to harvest, unless it's actual humans?
That's what.
Which doesn't make sense.
I don't even say like it might not even be some form of matter. It could be like conscious energy or something like that. You don't even know.
Okay.
Maybe it is evil will. Like maybe they're trying to encourage wars because the evil energy is somehow powers their space engine. Well, who knows?
Now we get down to a Monsters Inc. conversation to where you harvesting laughter or screams?
100%.
If you're harvesting screams, definitely invade. If you're harvesting laughter or any other type of emotion or consciousness or whatever you're talking about, subvert. 100% subvert.
Who knows, dude? I mean, maybe it's the Matrix. The easiest way they found to do it is just let the little thing run and they come back and harvest every so often. It's like a self-sustaining ant farm.
Well, and the Anunnaki said that we were harvesting gold for a alien civilization, so they could. This
is the farthest fringes of some of this stuff.
Yeah, I think it was Zachariah Sitchin translating the. What are they? Sumerian texts?
Dead Sea Scrolls?
No, the Sumerian texts, and it may not be Zachariah Sitchin. Someone transcribed the Sumerian texts as the Sumerians were aliens, their atmosphere was falling apart. They needed gold to put in their atmosphere. So they came to a gold-heavy planet, made smarter monkeys to mine gold, took the gold, fixed their atmosphere, and then I think in the
dinosaurs
in the 80s, in the 80s or 90s or even early aughts, someone wrote an article. I think it was Bill Gates related, if I'm being totally honest.
Lizard people.
Pulling this out of my ass, but they prescribed the way to fix global warming would be to deflect sun rays with little, like, basically glittering our atmosphere with gold.
What if the plot of Rick and Morty was true?
What is the plot of Rick and Morty?
You have dinosaurs roaming around for millions of years, right?
Okay.
Maybe at some point they became conscious and left as dinosaurs. And they went and colonized the universe and then came back to Earth as dinosaurs to check on the monkeys.
Yeah.
I don't know if dinosaurs are...
Maybe they left Earth at one point and went to Mars, and then Mars' atmosphere got fucked up, so they came back to Earth to mine gold. I don't know.
I mean, what if it's like literally a fucked up accident?
Humans?
Like humans? Yeah, definitely.
Maybe we are some form, like example of genetic mutation. There's a lot of stuff behind that too.
Let's imagine a yet to be known planet with life on it.
Okay.
Is there an ultimate prime being of life form on that planet as humans are to Earth in a natural sense? Can you naturally dominate the way humans have dominated? Coming from a species that apparently still exists on Earth. Does that make sense? Like,
so that's the problem that I'm trying to get at. Like, why are we assuming we're the only species that's reached this level of intelligence? Like, what if it was? I mean, dinosaurs is an antidote, but what if it was dinosaurs that are like, shit, we got to go underground while these asteroids impact the Earth? And like, it's just been lizard people all along.
Oh, like they were smart dinosaurs. I understand. Yeah, no, I get it, but I think my point was a little more esoteric. Like,
I mean, it doesn't have to be lizard people. It could be octopus people or kangaroo people. Well, probably not kangaroo people.
Okay, so your assumption is that another species took the same route we did, but are more successful in that they're subverting us without the mass population's knowledge. But my question is, like, if you take any planet with life on it, is there the human equivalent to where we are we're changing every bit of the environment and we dominate every other species of anything?
That's kind of part of the problem, right? We haven't discovered another planet with life on it.
Yeah. That's the weird part about being human, though, is that we live on this planet. There's other things that live on this planet.
Our planet is the only example of life right now.
Yeah.
That's kind of the whole hinge point on all of this. Religion, whatnot.
We're the only life that's projecting ourselves into the cosmos.
We're the only life as what we describe as life. I'm not talking about
Oh, you're saying Earth as a whole.
Earth as a whole is the only place we found actual living organisms. We found biological signatures. I mean, that's not even right to say. Like, we found like carbon. We found like the stuff needed to make life, but we've never found actual something we'd go, that was living creature being.
I'm operating under the assumption, which I think is a safe assumption, that somewhere distant in the universe is another planet that functions as Earth does.
I subscribe to that for sure.
Ecosystems seem to control themselves naturally, at least on Earth. But humans seem very unnatural in that we decide how the ecosystems function. We have laws based on how much you can hunt, because we might wipe out a species, which we've done. Is there another form of life as just apex running the planet the way humans do? In every culture, I mean, even if you take like the Aborigines, they still exist for a reason. It's because they're dominant. Kangaroos don't fuck with Aborigine tribes out in the middle of nowhere in Australia. Animals are scared of people. Mm-hmm. Almost every animal is scared of people when they see them, because they know, unless it's one, like a lion will take down a single person, or a tiger, or an apex predator in their own ecosystem may take down one of a human. But as far as humans go, we're dominant, dude. We're keeping tigers as pets. Fuck tigers.
We're taking your species out.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I mean, we murdered the buffalo, apparently, if you buy into that. But if you go to another planet where the ecosystem has obviously been untouched, is there a human equivalent? Does the ecosystem allow for one type of being to totally take over? It seems unnatural.
That's your point, that it seems unnatural. Because I would agree with you too.
Tend to homogenize and create homeostasis,
I think I've said that on one of these episodes too, is that in most examples of most advanced systems within nature, it's like homogeneous. It's like symbiotic.
Yeah.
Like the systems that fail the quickest are the parasitic ones.
Yeah. The ones that don't provide anything. But we are, there's three forms: there's homogeneous, symbiotic, and parasitic. We're all three at the same time.
I think
any given species.
If technically, to me, we understand anything that doesn't absorb sunlight and produce something from it is parasitic. So basically, if you're not a plant, you're a parasite.
No, that's not true, because symbiotic exists. Like a honeybee would be symbiotic.
Yeah.
Anything that eats a plant, poops it, and plants the plant, symbiotic.
I forget how I read it, but it was something to that extent. Not that everything is... I think...
Parasitic would be a mosquito that only lives off the blood of other things.
I don't know what humans are doing in that regard. I feel like we're primary just...
We're all three.
What are you considering all three?
We cultivate land. We make plants. We're homogeneous. We make shit.
But isn't that part of your argument, is that wouldn't the plants naturally take care of themselves?
No, they would, but we ensure that certain plants exist, so we are...
That would be against nature.
No, to an extent, but homogeneous is, because we make sure that certain species exist. Symbiotic means that stuff is going to happen, and we use it. And some plants live within that, some animals live within that. And then parasitic is that we just take only. and we take only from the Earth itself. I guess we put back when we die, and it becomes fossil fuels after millions of years. But you understand what I'm saying? That we make stuff happen, we live with stuff, and we ruin stuff all at the same time. No other species on Earth does that.
I think they just said ants like keep beetles around to do something.
Yeah, but then there's other instances where ants only consume.
I'm just
ants.
Giving you a hard time.
It's just all harkens back to the point. Like we have total domination over this planet.
Yeah.
The only thing that harms us is the planet itself.
Is the weather. Yeah.
Except on very minuscule instances. Like we actually count the amount of wolf attacks that happen in the United States because wolves are fucking terrified of us. Unless you're one person in the middle of nowhere and there's 6 wolves, which doesn't happen very often. That's what I'm getting to. On other planets, does that happen? Or is everything more homogenous? Like, is the apex predator on another planet a Bengal tiger? To that extent, where they're that dumb, but they still maintain their own ecosystem.
If I could go back to school, I think I've said it before too, I would be an evolutionary biologist. I want to know how like certain paths led to certain species and stuff. So that would be the primary question, is like just at the very end, the very top of the food chain, if one species gets to do it long enough, do you end up with high level conscious stuff like we consider ourselves to be?
Yeah, I guess that begs the question, like if no humans existed, what is the next animal?
What would be left to like naturally grow to that level? And it was dinosaurs. That's why we have lizard people.
Yeah.
They were at it millions of years more than we were. It's like statistically, like they should have been. There should be lizard people.
Right. There's like no. That's a really good point. In that we had a very short span.
Yes, unless you start introducing the magic mushrooms or the stoned apes theory stuff, which is aliens. Because, anyways,
mushrooms came from space. Yeah.
Man, everything's connected.
Esoteric.
Always
conversation we dug into there, and I think it's been unanswered. I think it will always be unanswered, but I would always love to debate that. Like,
no, this is my favorite conspiracy part: is how this stuff all got started and why is it all connected?
It all just ties in together.
Everything together.
I mean, remove humans from the Earth. Chimps are next in line, I guess. How long?
I would say chimps. Yeah.
How long does it take a chimp to build a building?
I don't know. We sent them to space, right?
We sent them, yeah. They don't even look up, dude.
I know, I'm fucking around.
It's hard for me to think.
I watched the series of Planet of the Apes. They did real good.
There's contributing factors, obviously, like cooking meat and stuff like that would have advanced stuff, but it makes me wonder, like, even before dinosaurs, there were creatures in the sea. Like, how long would they have had to have grown and, like, created some kind of...
Well, it seems mostly...
Like, where did they go?
It's intelligence-based, right? And we're saying chimps because they're the next most intelligent. But have you ever seen a fucking hairless chimp? Dude, they are so strong. A baby chimp would beat me in an arm wrestle, no question. They're built different as species, but they're dumber than us. So obviously, our advantage is being smart, creating a complex society, having complex emotions, building tools, using tools. Nothing on Earth other than us uses tools. Birds do occasionally. Monkeys have learned to an extent. You can teach animals how to do a lot of things, but like inventing shit is human only. That's crazy to think about in the context of an entire ecosystem of a planet. So if you go another planet over, is there another thing inventing shit, or is it all just fucking birds and monkeys?
I mean, birds would be a descendant of the lizard people to me. But then maybe so are monkeys.
Oh fuck, we're running long. I'm sorry, I'll quit talking.
No, it's hot topic. It's interesting stuff.
It's cool. Cool, we went a little over. We missed Sunday anyway, so it's good to cover a bunch of current events and good topics.
Brains take a lot of power, burn a lot of calories. That's true.
There was some experiment they did on like some video game conferences or something like that. Like people that just sit around for like 12 hours a day playing like competitive gaming or something like that. Or even chess. I think chess was the best example, but they burned like 2,000 calories playing chess tournaments.
Golly.
It's insane. So that makes you feel better about video gaming, or I guess gaming in general.
I guess the moral to that story is if you're video gaming, try real hard.
I think you should be trying hard on all of that stuff.
One cool. Do y'all know what Death Note is?
Yeah.
I've heard of it. Yeah.
The manga. There's a TV show of it on Netflix. It's really good. I highly recommend watching it.
It's really good.
They made a live action? It wasn't anime, was it not?
No, there is an animated series that's like 30 episodes or something, and that's really good. But I think they made the live action with Willem Dafoe.
Okay.
But either way, there's an investigator in that show that's like the best on earth. He's like the Sherlock Holmes of the century. And he uses his brain so much that all he eats is like cake and sweets. And they're like, how do you just eat cake all the time? And he's like, well, I use my brain so much, I'll work it all off so I can just eat cake. And I'm like, that's fucking cool.
Damn, you ever get fat and feel dumb?
You're not thinking hard enough.
Because I'm not thinking that fucking rook to L2. I don't know.
That would be an interesting correlation to see, like obesity rates with technology. Like just the more dumb you get because you're losing your attention span.
Or like IQ, like if it naturally comes to you, maybe you hold more weight. But if you have to really try to do the work that you're doing, maybe you're a little skinnier.
That's what I'm saying. It's scientifically proven. Medical papers have been published.
All right, I have no idea what we're doing next week.
We will find out and let y'all know. You beautiful people.
We did create a list at the end of episode 2.
We did this live. That way everyone's a part of it.
We did do this live.
Yeah.
I'm saying that way everyone's a part of it.
So everybody can be a part of it.
So we did intelligence agencies in the government. We did that. MK Ultra, we did that. MLK, we did that. We did not do the NSA, TSA, Patriot Act. We did not do the CDC, Big Pharma, military, and American diet.
The military-industrial complex is big.
Yeah, I feel like that's broad stroke.
That was 6, is the industrial military complex.
It would be interesting in
NASA and the moon landing. We could touch that. That's a government agency.
Dude, I saw a video of some shit flying around on the moon from like the original Apollo missions.
Episode 8 was supposed to be UFOs, MIB, CIA, NASA, Project Bluebeam. So maybe we'll just call this episode that. And then 9 was the American education. 11 was American oligarchy, Clinton's, Biden's, Bush's.
Ooh, that's good.
We can do the oligarchy. How many episodes is it a season? 10? 11 being the live one?
I think we did. No, I think it was 12 total. I think we made a point to do 12.
So do y'all want to do NASA and the moon landing next week?
It ties in with Project Bluebeam, definitely.
We'll do the moon landing. Hollow moon.
And let me preface it, and I believe we landed on the moon.
There was 11. No, there was 12 because episode 1 has gone to the public. So yeah 12 episodes. And
12 is live, so we have 3 more to do. And I think moon landing is good for next week because I believe in it, so I'm going to be a lot less skeptical, I think.
I'll put myself on
first
paper.
Moon landing you believe in?
That's what I was going to say.
Yeah,
I believe we went to the moon. I'm unsure when we went to the moon.
Yeah, I'm unsure when we went. That's a good way to put it.
Cool. Let's work with that. Let's hit some plugs. Next week's moon landing.
Who wants to go first? I'll go.
You said it.
I'll go. So, you can follow my band, Able Delilah.
You got a request?
We have a show.
Apparently, I have a new song in here. Where's Flavor? All right, you got Bad Love.
So, yeah, you can look up any of our music on Spotify, YouTube, Apple, any of that good jazz. You can get merch from accessing any of our social media platforms. Follow us on Instagram, Facebook. We have merch on abledelilah.com, or like I said, you can find it through Facebook, all that. We have shows coming up. Check those out. New music on the way. I was talking to one of our vocalists today. We're just trying to get everything together for the release of a new single. We got our graphic back, so it's looking good. Follow me on my YouTube page, please, please, please. I'm trying to get that up. One of my videos actually got 1.4 thousand views, so I'm trying to keep that one going.
Brag about it, bitch.
I have to, because all the other ones have very low views. So that one blew up. That one blew up, and I'm like, hey, there you go. You're a shining star.
Hell yeah.
So please help the YouTube account. I'm on Instagram.
Damn, dog, I don't even know if I'm
that's more personal. Twitter. And one more. What was it? No, I think that's it.
Cool, I'll go next.
Twitch. What we're on. Why did I forget Twitch? I don't get to stream a lot. My internet's flaky on me, but
You're doing all right.
yeah. Hell yeah.
Clayton?
Dope. I just followed Inked Beats. You now have 4 subscribers.
5.
Oh, 5, sorry. I'm BOC Wasabi on everything. I'm the most active on Twitter. Just follow the Rolling Third at youtube.com/Rolling Third. We also have a Patreon, patreon.com/Rolling Third. We missed last week, and I didn't notify anybody because all we have is Patreon as far as social media goes. But that won't happen this week. We have a guest lined up, and we have a guest lined up for the week after. So follow the Rolling Third on YouTube. We do like a movie trivia game night. We party on Sunday nights at 8 p.m. at youtube.com/Rolling Third.
I'll go next. I do pop up on Twitch every once in a while. I need to get back on Hogwarts. I haven't touched that since I played it the first time. I'm sorry, everybody.
Oh my fucking gosh.
I'm sorry, I know. I need to get back on it.
I'm so worried about ruining all of my time in that time suck that I haven't even downloaded it. I know I want to play it so bad.
It's so fun.
I need to get back at it. There's a lot of games coming out that I want to make sure I'm. Have y'all heard of Star Wars Eclipse? Like they need a plug.
Yeah. Is that the new? Yeah,
Star Wars.
I think I have. Yeah.
It's supposed to be Dead Man's Sky or No Man's Sky, but Star Wars universe.
Oh no, I haven't heard about that.
Oh yeah.
They were making the second. What is the game that was on PlayStation first only? Then it finally came to Xbox. Had the guy from Shameless as the main.
Fallen Order.
Fallen Order. There's a new one of those.
Yeah, Jedi Survivor. Fallen Order was fantastic. It was their first iteration of it, so there was like still learning curve.
Yeah.
So I'm interested to see the second one, like what they improve upon and stuff, because there's supposed to be fast travel and a lot of other stuff, which I'm kind of unsure about.
The first one was fun.
First one was fun for sure. 10 for 10 for me. But Star Wars Eclipse is supposed to be No Man's Sky, which is basically just like open galaxy. You could go wherever you want.
Yeah.
And to
It's
me,
like Lego Star Wars, you can do that.
well, yeah. But this is going to be like almost like a Skyrim, Oblivion, Fallout.
You ever played Star Fox 64? You can like go in a line from planet to planet.
Just to be able to like pick your path, like your lightsaber, you end up being a Sith.
You kill Andros.
You have like a star fleet going around with you have your own Death Star that you just warp into a solar system and start zapping planets. I don't know.
That's pretty fun.
Dog. Hey, here's something I learned this week. Did you know that Anakin, his power, his potential was way limited when he became Vader because he lost all his limbs and he barely had a body, so the Force didn't have as much body to live in. He had less midichlorians.
But he whoops ass in Obi-Wan Kenobi series, so that...
No, he lost twice to Obi-Wan. Anyways.
That's true. No, he killed him the last time. Made him be a Force ghost, I guess.
Obi-Wan sacrificed himself. He never actually beat him.
That's fair. He never beats Obi-Wan.
So the only other thing I plug is the store, but there that is. We do the show. We do news on Sundays, hopefully that continues.
If you buy anything, we only make $5. Sorry for the inflated prices. We have to say that every time, dude. Also, if you buy leggings, send us a picture. We have to say that every time, too.
Yeah, we do.
I just want to see what they look like.
Yeah, it's like not. We're three guys.
See them on some good legs.
Guys aren't gonna get the leggings. We haven't seen some of this merch yet. Anyways. All right, I think that's the show.
Thank y'all.
Appreciate y'all for hanging out.
We'll see you Sunday morning unless these fuckers back out, and then we'll see you next Tuesday and we'll talk about the ending.
All right, waiting screen. Bye, guys.